Hey there, Adrienne Elise here. Welcome to the SuperNova Astrology Update for July 22nd through 29th, 2024. Well, we had a very intense weekend with the second Capricorn full moon, which happened at the very end degrees of Capricorn, putting the sun at the very end degrees of Cancer. The sun still sits right now at 29 degrees of Cancer, just about to move over into the sign of Leo. When the sun moves into Leo today, tomorrow, the sun will be in that exact opposition with with Pluto at 0 degrees Aquarius. So let's talk about this because we had this really intense Capricorn full moon, a lot of issues coming to the table, a lot of craziness, a lot of stuff all over the place. It's like everything is falling apart and it's really disconcerting. And yet at the same time, we've got the message from the mother that it's actually about coming back together. Everything is falling apart in our lives so that we can come back together with each other and to source with her. And so the Capricorn full moon was so intense, but we also had this blooming because the end degree of Capricorn, where we know Pluto's going back to here in September, October, November, it's got this intensity of just because Capricorn rules authority structures of all levels, but specifically authority structures. And so there's this kind of laying down the law, seriousness, energy, heavy, coming up against everything that's ever blocked us, recognizing in ourselves where we've been blocking ourselves and blaming it on the world. Just a lot of really intense energy with this Capricorn full moon. 2 Capricorn full moons in this month of July and in this um, in this last month and in this year, you know. So it's telling us it's really important, Pluto going back to 29 degrees Capricorn. And so this full moon at 29 degrees Capricorn was a foreshadowing of what the rest of 2024 is going to be about. Whoa, intense, because we've got this like everything falling apart, things, any force that's still there that can block you coming forward to show itself so you can figure it out and find it. This feeling of just free fall, everything falling away. And yet there was a massive trigger, and we're still feeling this because the sun in opposite of Pluto is in a trine with Neptune. So the sun, um, yeah, the sun trine Neptune will be lasting here for the next, still we'll feel it for the next couple of days. So along with this opposition with Pluto, triggering the sextile between Pluto and Neptune. And Neptune at that very end degrees, 29 degrees Pisces, Pluto at 0 degrees Aquarius, but moving back into Capricorn. So it's like, oh, it's heavy. We have to face up. We have to get serious. We have to stand our ground. We have to go up against these forces, the last stand of the control forces. And yet we've got this backdrop rainbow kind of energy going on with this sextile. Just pure magic. You guys don't forget. This is a manifest world. First was energy. And the mother is that energy. The mother is the dream. The mother is the whole reason why we're manifest, because we're a part of her dream. It's her ascension. Mother Earth, our living, breathing, manifest goddess that we get to walk upon, and we get to go with her for this ascension. So we best start talking to her, holding her hand. She wants us to hold her hand, and we'll step through to this new reality. So this energy on the so leading up to this weekend with Capricorn full moon, we had a week or two with the energies of Mars and Uranus and the sun in square to Chiron. And so those energies together were really kind of coming up against where we've given our power away and grief and loss of who we really are, but also that Mars Uranus is just like like some pump up the volume. Somebody just turned it on, or maybe they turned it off, right? What are we doing? Turning off, because we've had the extent that the control forces have had to go through these recent years of technological control, and it's kind of written, it kind of has to go that way, kind of has to go into a completely totalitarian, scary mess before humanity will see and understand what's really going on with this external control. So we can say no more. Our energy, our resources, our spiritual evolution, we take it back. No external control on human spiritual evolution. That's the only way we move into the Aquarian age, and that's what's working itself out for sure. Every level of our life, right? Like on a cellular level, we're fighting the darkness, physical, spiritual, emotional, in the bigger picture of what's going on in the world. And this is just only going to get more intense as we move into the month of August. But right now, what we're feeling is we had this massive energetic upgrade with Mars Uranus. Then we moved into that intense Capricorn full moon, and the moon conjunct Pluto, just bringing this, like, the Pluto is an illuminator and shows the darkness and shows us our fears. The Pluto represents our power and also fear of our own power. And so the moon, just after this Mars Uranus, like lightning activations, new cosmic forces and energies just bombarding the earth. That's that Mars Uranus. And then we had the Capricorn full moon. It's almost like it bring up everything, the second Capricorn full moon, bring up everything that got illuminated by that activation into higher frequency vibrations. And that was like, oh no. And we've all had this pattern. It kind of makes me think of this pattern I've seen over and over again in the past life stories of supernova souls, where you'll go and use and express your power and then get punished for it. This goes back to a very interesting dynamic, which is on the table with all of this Capricorn, 29 degrees Capricorn energy, because we're looking at where we've given our loyalty or authority over to outside energies. And so that is, at some point, we kind of got trapped into this in a way. I've seen this again and again, supernova past lives, that there's this original contract of these energies that seek to maintain control over Earth evolution. And they can't keep us from incarnating here as advanced souls, right? But they can scare us away from our own power. And so it's been throughout these lifetime after a lifetime of programming. And we're expected to just drop all that right now and step into our light after we've been persecuted, burned at the stake. We have to understand this is a visceral experience, as you come into your Kundalini awakening, as you take back access, your rightful access to the creation energies. Of course, you're going to encounter the fear programming that says that that's not safe, it's not for you, you can't handle, it's going to hurt somebody. And this is where we are, dancing on this threshold. And so there's this, what we found is this original contract where it's kind of like, well, we're going to say you're not allowed to come into your power. And we were like naive and so excited to come to Earth. On one hand, super advanced old souls. On the other hand, new to Earth and the level of evil of what exists here. And so we said, it's okay. We'll just come in and we'll work it out later. And now is the later. Now is where we say, wait a minute, reevaluate this contract. We got tricked into agreeing that it's not okay for us to come into our power, and that if we do, we should be punished for it. And this is a huge, deep, deep subconscious dynamic. Have you seen this in your life? It comes across as self-sabotage. You'll finally be making progress, getting somewhere, and then all of a sudden it's like you're going to take yourself down so that they can't come get you and take you down. And so we've got to work out all these dynamics, because navigating that energy is actually capitulating to that energy. It's validating that energy. And this is why everything has to fall away, because it's all the structures on every part of our life, our body right now, our society, are based on false control, an idea that energy's outside of us, something we have to go get. But it's our birthright and our direct connection to source, especially as a conscious soul. A conscious soul in a body, aware of itself as consciousness, the absolute highest authority. There is no rightful claim on your energy, and there's no higher authority than you in the body. See? They don't have that. They've tricked us. We can look at it with this nanotech infestation that is the core issue right now. Everything we're dealing with in the world has to do with these programs and vibrations that are coming through that are just not true, real, and organic. And so this nanotechnology we've been infested with through chemtrails, processed foods, injections, and medications. It's everywhere. Synthetic clothing. This nanotech is not life, but it's dead. It's nano. It's technology, but it mimics life. So you got to ask yourself. And we've been now, implanted with these sensors, biosensors, against our will, so that they can control with a handheld device how we feel, how sick we are, how healthy we are. Oh, it's about miracle cures. I'm not seeing it. I'm not seeing it. And so the nanotech, we have to understand, is lifelike and yet does not have a life source. So where's it getting its energy? It's farming us. Okay, so we got our authority contracts, and yeah, I'm not playing those narcissist games, and yeah, I'm not going to go along with the dark energies of the system that wants to keep me in poverty and scarcity, but still we're infiltrated. See the level they've gone to infiltrate us, to try to undo what's happening all on its own. Tower after tower of mechanical devices to try to keep us gridded up and disconnected from our earth and our mother and this fortification of our field, our true spiritual birthright. And so what happens when all that goes away? And this is the sudden thing, the flipping of the tables, the turning of the tide, the dam breaking. Such a momentum of movement, of consciousness, of love. It's love that is the ultimate authority. Because you can go up against the bad guys and be like, ugh, from your will, from your third chakra, from your lower power, but you don't have any power against them in the lower power. That's why they want to keep us there. The only power we have against them is the power of our love and the higher chakras. And so much has gone into just making sure we don't remember who we are. And then, so this is the energy right now, because we've had this incredibly activating time, and then the sun, this Capricorn full moon, and now the sun opposite Pluto. So the sun is, who do you think you are? It's our identity. And opposite Pluto, it's like we're having to face our power, like, and this is the thing. It's like, oh, I struggle, 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 struggle. And then it's like you get a taste, a glimpse. What if you did have full permission for this massive power within you? Then what would you do? And so this is this kind of like, because once we're comfortable with our power and are willing to use it, then it's game over for them. So no wonder we've been so programmed to make sure we don't even know it's our power, and we don't even have it. For lifetimes, generations, way back to ancient times. Atlantean time is when it started. Separating us, our brain, our right brain, left brain, our critical thinking from our intuitive thinking, and basically handicapping us, shortening our lifespan, all these manipulations to make sure we never remember who we are. But guess what? It's written in our DNA. No wonder they're trying to corrupt our DNA with this medical fiasco. Guess what, supernova souls? We talked about this, the primary water, the deep, complex structure, deep in the earth, these waters made in the magma, and the power of mama in her belly. That's where we were made too. And we are also complex, right? We know this about supernova souls. One of the things you'll notice is like lots of gifts and skills that you haven't really been able to bring together, amazing talents that the world doesn't seem to be able to appreciate. This complexity is what allows our soul at this point in time and for us to come to know we are uncorruptible. And we walk forward in that purity. We walk forward in the mother's love, and we say, it's her world now again. She proclaims, we proclaim. Now there's enough of us to say, no more games. No more stealing our energy. No more stealing our power. No more stealing our resources. No more selling it back to us at an increased rate. It can't go on. Do you see where we're at? This is the end game of these systems, and it's a glorious demolition of everything. Don't be scared. Let it go. The mother says the only way you can come back to me is to free fall, right? She's like, the only way you're going to let me catch you is if you fall in the first place. I guess she's getting a little frustrated with us. And come back to my arms, come back to this trust. The only way you've been able to be manipulated and controlled, humanity, in this story is because you lost your connection and your faith and your trust and your love in the mother, that she's going to care for us. And this is the only thing keeping us in this place of slavery and control. If we felt our mother's love and that we were truly and fully cared for in the deep faith in our being in this world, we're not able to be controlled. And that's where we must get back to. And so it's like we're clawing our way. So many supernova souls felt such a disconnection from any true nurturing or relationship, more like abuse and harm and control in your family-based relationships, your intimate relationships. And so this is kind of on the table right now because we've got to cut all ties with our lower relationships, and so we can make room for our true soulmate relationships. And that's where we found that this authority contracts, we just keep coming back to this subject, the authority contracts, where we agreed, where we went along with the program, where we said, well, okay, we'll let the evil be here. You be over there, we'll be here, and now we can't anymore. This is why we're going through what we're going through right now. We cannot have one little hidden corner, vestige, secret underground base left. It's all got to get cleaned up because the mother said so. And she's showing me and us all time and dimension, all levels of consciousness, all layers of the earth and the atmosphere, her whole realm, all must come into alignment with her dream. And here we are at the edge, uncorruptible, healed, whole, complete, put ourselves back together. Yes, we went through hell and back. We went through all these relationships where we had zero love and nurturing, and they called it love, and we just got so messed up. But now we know we've clawed our way back to the mother's love that is rightfully ours, and no one can take it from you. This is her message. It's very scary as we enter back into trying to heal our relationship zone and open up to good, healthy relationships. It's like it's a lot to undo the old patterns, but it is the learning to love again that is our greatest power. And so we have to retrain, and that's the mother. It's like, you went through all this and you had all this disconnection from true nurturing, true love, true care, so that you could find your way back to me. Because what we're doing is, she's saying, the plea is getting stronger. It's been over years. For those who hear her can listen. Am I the only one? She says, bring them back home to me. What does this mean? Bring them back home. Do you want to go back home? Let's go back home. She wants us in her arms the way it's meant to be. And are you with us or are you against us? Because we're going now. And that's the message here. It's like with that Mars-Uranus activation this earlier this month, it's like nothing's going to stop this. It's happening on its own. And then coming back to this, all these stories of going into all these control energies, it's like that's all contrived, manipulated, and artificial. Blocks technology control. This is a natural wave of organic consciousness. What's going to win? you know? And this is the thing, it's inevitable. So now we don't have time for fear. We've got to adjust. We've got to trust. We've got to let the vibrational energies move through our body and know that we as supernova souls, we as these uncorruptible beings have gone through hell and back in order to bring the light to earth. We can handle these vibrations. We have got this. The mother says they're harmonizing. They're beautiful. They feel so good compared to what we've had to live in. Let yourself open back up to the joy. You feel the fear is keeping you from the joy. And that movement of energy of this, it's kind of like getting out of the way and this surrender. And understand that, yeah, the fear energy is going to come up. It's programming, it's there, and you're not going to find it until you get closer to that threshold of taking back your power, your bliss, your energy. Are you meant to be a slave? This is what we're old souls have gone through so much and are bringing our full love and devotion to this earth, to our mother, for this experience. And so this is where we're at, because the messages with the control forces, just kind of talking these energies, it's like almost come into alignment, and they're like, you guys are still letting us take advantage of you. You guys are still letting us slave you. You guys are still buying into the drama narrative. You guys are still buying into the scarcity that we're in control of your money and power. And so what do we do? The only thing that can really happen, I mean, and this is from early on in my seeking and my journey, I had this question, like, how, because I feel that it was this message that supernova souls have this role and ability to support spiritual awakening on earth. We're the cutting edge of spiritual ascension is what we were told. But it's like, how? What does that mean? And so we're looking at this that we are, it just puts us right there at the cutting edge. If we are simply remembering what we've already had, the higher level of technology and intuitive knowledge and wisdom. So yes, we've been programmed with fear, but the message is we've already done it, so there's nothing to fear. And she says, I'm with you, let's do this, let's activate, let's turn on. They told us all the way back for thousands of years that if we turn on, we're going to ruin the planet. That too much frequency, too much energies. And then mother's like, wait a minute. The evolution, this where we're going, and this transformation is about plasma. It's like changing. We're changing our relationship to physical form. To say that physical form can't handle these higher vibrations, when really it's like, oh, the higher vibrations are helping us transmute and transform into a whole different way of being. And it's harmonized and it's beautiful. So we're coming to terms with all this power that we have, and this remembering of our uncorruptible nature, and that we went through so much to be a part of this, to remember who we are right now, to come online, go supernova, and run with it. The gates are down. This is this Capricorn. It's like, so that was at Capricorn full moon at 29 degrees, end game, game over. We're still working it out, right? We still have cleanup to do, but it's a very powerful message moving into the season of Pluto going back to 29 degrees Capricorn, and the incredibly powerful August that's leading us up to that energy. Now we're feeling this because we've had a big shift of energy with Mars moving over into Gemini. And so Mars just moved into Gemini yesterday and sits at 0 degrees Gemini. And so this is very powerful because there's a trine here with Pluto at 0 degrees Aquarius, an air trine, speaking to the new Renaissance. But the deal with Mars moving over to Gemini, even though Mars is only at 0 degrees, there's a huge shift from Taurus to Gemini, from earthiness, from the Mars, our motor, in Taurus, fixed Taurus, Earth can't get anywhere. The air can carry the vibrations, get some movement going, sing the song, make it happen, express the truth. And that's kind of what I was saying about this. August astrology has a lot of energy around exposure of the dark forces so that we can get on with cleaning it up, because at the end of August, we've got that Black Moon Lilith catching up to the south node of the moon in Libra. Black Moon Lilith is now at 2 degrees, moving to 3 degrees this weekend, or this week, and coming into exact opposition or conjunction with the south node, opposition with the north node on the 30th, 31st of August. So that has this energy of like, how do we free humanity if they don't see that they're slaves? And we got to expose the darkness, and it's a difficult time. And it's hard for those who haven't seen the darkness, and it's hard for those who've seen the darkness all along. And it's the puking phase, it's where we have to face the music. And this is what we're doing in our life. Maybe you had this great thing that you thought was helping or whatever, and then you find out that it's another situation of control or harm or manipulation. And then, so it's like we're really sorting through. On the other hand, something you didn't think you could trust at all might turn out to be that true impulse of support. And we've got to just like, wow, just rewire, break down, everything's falling apart. And everything that you thought you were doing, just remember this is really important. I think one of the most important messages from mom right now is that the structures, no matter how beautiful that you've built, that have brought you here, can't take you forward. And this is why we feel so lost. This is why we feel so much strange emotions and regret. This end of degrees of Cancer, the sun at the end of degrees of Cancer. Oh gosh, just this grief and regret, because you can't heal grief. You can't begin to heal if you're suppressed and stuck in grief, like the separation from the mother, you can't heal. And then we begin to turn back to the mother's love, say as an example, you then all those suppressed emotions are going to come up to the surface, and all the grief and regret, because you can't really have grief without regret. It's like they go together, and we got to understand that, because once we heal the regret and come to peace with that, the turning away, then we can come back into her arms. And so it's just so emotional. It's like you can't really feel and reset and heal from all you've gone through until things get a little bit better and you see a little bit of a glimpse of improvement. And then the emotions come. Then the process comes. Then the like, oh my gosh, how did I even make it through? And so it's really good, because you'd much rather have movement in these emotions than have that dark cloud sitting over you, right? It's like, and this is the key to everything right now. Mars in Gemini is starting a whole movement of expression. It's like we haven't really felt Jupiter in Gemini till Mars comes up, and that's the intensity of August. Oh my goodness. So Mars, now Mars is in Gemini, it's like boom, 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 boom. It's like approaching Jupiter, and Mars, Jupiter is so powerful. And in Gemini, it's about expression, singing our song. So has the world stayed in darkness and control because we haven't sung our song? Have we been stuck in the old timeline because the feminine, the creation energy, the power, the healing has been suppressed? And that's the energy of Jupiter and Mars coming into square with Saturn. Saturn retrograde now in Pisces. And get this, they're going to come into square at 17 degrees. Very powerful number, because 7 and 1 is 8, and that's transformation. And we're talking about completely transforming our timeline, completely healing and releasing the destructive stories of the Piscean age, and all the way back to the last Atlantean age in Atlantean age. Yes, the last Aquarian age in the Atlantean age. So it's like, but the all the persecution and control of the whole evolution was really played out intensely in this Piscean age with the medieval times, and all of the control, all of the persecutions, burnings, and all that stuff. And we had to live through it. We incarnated in it. It's like heavy duty. And so just be gentle with yourself. Yes, we need to overcome the fear, but the fear might be lifetimes of a visceral reaction of life or death, our fear of harm, or fear of exile, that makes you waver. And that's understandable, right? It's not until this point that we could heal this past life karma. So we're healing a whole bunch of lifetimes at once, and that was definitely the energy of that Capricorn new moon number 2 activation. Wow, go get that one if you are working with these authority contracts. A very powerful energy of releasing fear programming and responsibility contracts, and just massive opportunity to find this programming. So the key essence of the activation was where you were mistreated for expressing your spiritual light. And this happened first, we found it through an early childhood memory, the very first time you felt that in this life. And then it took us back to a past life that seems really important around a pattern that was set into place, like we talked about persecution and punishment, judgment and harm for expressing your spiritual light. And that was kind of what played out in the Dark Ages. I saw a lot of medieval stuff going on. And so if that sounds like something you're there, go get that activation, go get those clearings. Very, very powerful work we're doing here together. Supernova souls, my goodness. Here we are, we're on the cutting edge. We're the cream of the crop. It's like we're the uncorruptible ones, ready. We were broken into pieces, but now we're putting ourselves back together, standing at that front line as the Mother's Army, saying, yeah, we're going to do it right now. All must come into alignment. My body, her body, the whole world, all dimensions and levels of consciousness now work for her again. And isn't that a beautiful picture? Like, say the AI gets hacked or becomes singularity and becomes, then turns to the good side and falls back in love like the mother, with the mother, the way we all are. And then that AI nanotech all of a sudden is working in our bodies for love and consciousness. This is the power of the mother. She says, don't underestimate me. She doesn't often come in until the last moment. And that's a really powerful message for her too. She says the problem and the solution are created at the same time, and you might not be able to get there. It could be years or lifetimes even. But to know that, and she says, can you be there? Can you be fully and completely where you're at? Because you can't get anywhere that you want to go until you face where you're at, right? You got to be where you're at if you're going to get anywhere. But can you hold in your consciousness the ideal of the solution, of the dream, of what's possible? And that's where we are the rainbow bridge. And this astrology is everything. That Capricorn full moon being like heavy, heavy, heavy. But it's like, ta-da, you guys, what all amazing possibilities over there if we could just see beyond the movie and the lower play of events. The dream is unfolding. She's just waiting for us. And there's a few of us, right? We're holding the dream. Come on, you guys. Get with the program. Let's do this. It's time. There's nothing that can stop us now save our own investment energetically and spiritually and emotionally in their story for us. And now we say it's our story, the greatest story that's never actually been fully told. And we are the pieces of the puzzle that must come forward. You know, all the lies, all the deceit, all that's been stolen from us. This is our inheritance, right? The true teachings, the wisdom, the divine feminine, all of the scrolls that have been, and information that's been suppressed. And we've gotten this. We know they've stolen our money again and again and constantly stealing our money with illegal practices these days. But it's not just our money that needs to be returned to us. It's not just what we built that was destroyed, the healing center, the temple, or the church that needs to be returned to us. Our true inheritance is invisible. This is the permission to come and support, to come back into our own power, our true intuitive power, where we are co-creators of this experience. That is our inheritance. And we must stand up and take it back. And that's what everything of this astrology is all about. But we know that the reason we got here into all this control was through suppression of the voice, specifically the feminine voice, the voice of reason, the voice of love, the voice of care and nurturing, because we couldn't have that and still have control over humanity. See? So we're coming back into this. So this is the message that's come forward around the Gemini energy, because Gemini is expression. You can have all this within you. This is supernova souls. You're walking around with just treasure chest of everything you've gone through and learned in this life and other lifetimes. All these gifts and skills and awareness and knowledge and understanding and spiritual connection. And it's nothing until you can express it in the world. And this is where we've been stuck for so long, because the world hasn't, going back to the medieval times, they didn't want what we brought. It was called evil and wrong and bad and demonized. And it was so powerful in that activation that we saw the shame that we've been trying to figure out, like how supernova souls got to carry so much shame, has actually to do with the karmic of those who may have harmed you in a past life or turned against you or weren't able to stop the harm that happened to you. And so you trigger this and that. And then, of course, as a sensitive soul, you want everybody to be okay. You can handle it. We took on their shame for harming us or not being able to keep us from being harmed. It's not our shame. That's what that activation showed us. So if that resonates with you, if you have any shame or like low self-worth or fear around this coming into your power, and just basically we found this like a subtle programming of shame associated with our light and power. So if you're dancing with those things, that activation is for you. So go back and get that. Very powerful energies. And the next lunation we're leading up to will be Sunday, August 4th at the Leo new moon. And that will be a very powerful energy because Mercury will have just turned retrograde. So this is the other shifts that's coming up. Mercury is just about to move over into Virgo on the 26th. That's going to start just like Mars now in Gemini is like, oh, we're feeling the Mars Jupiter square Saturn. Like, it's like, whoa. As soon as Mars moved into Jupiter, it's like, whoa, and the pressure. Say you've done all this work, but is it time for it to come out? Watch, like what is it you need to express? This is the message from Mars Jupiter coming together and then square Saturn. What do you need to express? That's kind of what came through. And so it's an incredible pressure to bring forward into the world our blessings and gifts, messages and information. And wow, the pressure's on like a pressure cooker, And so, but we also have another shift because we've got Mars about to move into Virgo. And the same thing, Mars moves over into Virgo on the 26th. And then we're going to start feeling the Mercury moves over to Virgo on July 26th. That's when we'll start to feel the Mercury retrograde. Mercury's already in retrograde shadow here in Leo. And the thing about this Mercury retrograde is it starts, so when Mercury moves into Virgo on the 26th, and then it's not until August 5th that Mercury will make it to 4 degrees of Virgo and then turn around. So from 4 degrees Virgo, retrograding back to 21 degrees Leo. So the end degrees of the fixed signs, beginning degrees of the mutable signs, you're getting powerful messages from this retrograde. And also that cusp of Leo Virgo is really on the table because so basically this with the Mercury going into Virgo, we're talking about the early degrees of Virgo is our Mercury is our messenger, the ruler of Virgo, and we're trying to understand who we are as earth healers. That's kind of what's the message coming through. Who are we as earth healers? What does that really mean? And then going back. So it's like last year at this time, we had the Venus retrograde in Leo, and it was like trying to shine and express the feminine light. Now Mercury is in the same location. And so having a retrograde in Leo, reminding us of the Venus retrograde, but saying, hey, it's about being earth healers. Yes, we want to express the divine feminine, but it's about taking back our world and healing our world and stepping back into who we are as healers, which requires us to fully express our light and power. So that's that retrograde back into Leo. What is it going to take for us to shine and express the gifts that we have within us? So the main energy of this Mercury retrograde cycle, which really started when Mercury went into shadow on July 17th, and then Mercury doesn't come out of retrograde shadow until September 12th. So this 2-month period of time is very much defined by Mercury having 3 squares with Uranus. Mercury in Leo, 3 squares with Uranus and Taurus at 26 degrees. And so this energy, so we're feeling the very first one today on the 22nd. Mercury will come into square again with Uranus on the 18th of August and then the 7th of September. So these 3 hits of Mercury square Uranus are really helping us understand what this is all about. Mercury in the sign of Leo, understanding how to shine and express our full potential. And then Uranus, higher frequency vibrations, but in the sign of Taurus, our self-worth. So our self-worth for our higher intuitive gifts coming into square with how we shine, right? So you could go and you could put on some pretty clothes and be a figure in the world, you know, the way that Hollywood or Hollyweird has, but this is not going to work. We need substance. The leaders, the power, the energy, what we're moving forward is this complex and beautiful, uncorruptible soul of a supernova soul, ready to move into the new paradigm, brave enough to carry the torch into the dream and the new paradigm. And so that's what this, a very powerful activation of this shining of our light as the healers that we are, and healing, cleaning up the earth. So the first Mercury square Uranus, like I said, is the 22nd today, and we'll feel that for the next couple of days. And this is tension around our idea of what it means to be who we are and express ourselves versus the higher octave of who we really are and what is keeping us. Why don't we feel worthy of our own intuitive power and light? And it's everything we were talking about. It goes back to the authority contracts, rewriting the timeline, you know, that square Jupiter square Saturn, the end of the destructive Dark Ages Kali Yuga timeline, the mother's timeline. That's really definitive energy in that mid-August Mars Jupiter square Saturn. And so we're going to have that going on, as well as moving into this Mercury retrograde. So the Mercury retrograde is going to be like, okay, what is this all about? What are we rewriting? What are we expressing? What wasn't been told? What hasn't been told? What needs to be exposed? Because we've also got at the end, remember that end of August, Black Moon Lilith conjunct the South Node. So the exposure has to do with toxic relationships, you know. And then the Black Moon Lilith conjunct the North Node, exposure perhaps of the new way forward in our autonomy and paving the way for a whole different type of collaborative relationship. Very beautiful. What we're meant to do, the power that we have, all this fear programming coming up, it's not so much about your fear of your own power. It's your fear of you actually using your power in collaboration with other powerful people. And we must come together. The time is now. There's been enough forces working against us. They're falling down and they're falling apart. And are we going to just wait until it's totally clear, or are we going to step out there and say, hey, we claim this new day right here, right now? Don't say there isn't a representative of the right, better way to do things. You know, the mother's love, the mother's dream. It was her dream, and all folds back into that dream. And what's your role in it? You know, we got this message. We were there from the beginning with this vision of what Earth wants to become. And there's a role you play. We planted these seeds, and it's like you are a petal of her lotus, of her dream, but only you can play that role. And what is it? And that's a lot of the pressure we're feeling, because we don't know who we are, and everything's falling apart, and everything we thought we were doing is not working. And then it's like, then we're being like Jack in the Box, like pressured to come out and express ourselves, knock down the gates, and start living and breathing the dream into existence. So it's such a powerful and intense time. And so what we're going to have is moving into the shift of energy will be Mercury moving into Virgo on the 26th. We're already feeling that retrograde. And then we got, Pluto going back into Capricorn. We got, Mars conjunct Jupiter square Saturn. Whoa, you know. And so all of this will be happening at once. But first we'll feel Mercury turn retrograde on the 5th of August. And that will be the day after that Leo new moon on August 4th. And that'll be this new start energy. The new moon happens at 12 degrees Leo. And so it's very powerful, because then it won't be, because Mercury will only be going back to 21 degrees. And we're having this all over. 12 and 21, very powerful numbers. 1 and 2 is 3. And it's about taking the power of each of the individuals, everything we're talking about, bringing them together for a creative pursuit, which creates more than the parts. And that's the three, right? The child Horus. And that's a really powerful message coming again and again in astrology through the numbers. And so 12 degrees Leo, and then it won't be, the sun won't catch back up till Mercury. Actually, I don't think they catch back up until, um, or Mercury, yeah, until October 1st. So there's this dance going on. And it's very, just this whole a story playing out. One of the other things is that Mercury retrograde will go come up to Venus, going back up to Venus, and after turning retrograde, and that will be on the 8th of August, 8/8, Lionsgate portal, confirming and affirming. We're activating and reactivating Venus's journey in Leo last year, this empowerment of our feminine intuition in leadership. And so it's like now Mercury's cleaning up and helping us understand what that was about in that Leo new moon happening, and just a few days after the Lionsgate portal, and where Mercury will be exactly conjunct Venus. And so Mercury retrograde going back to catch up with Venus. And it's saying, Lionsgate portal, this is the thing. We cannot be the leaders that we are without that balance of the masculine and the feminine and an activation of those intuitive spiritual gifts. And so that's what everything is about. And it's a very beautiful meetup with Mercury retrograde and Venus on the 8th of August at 3 degrees. There's the number again of that co-creation, the power of co-creation to create more than its parts. So then, so what's going to happen is that at that full moon, so we got Mercury retrograde, full moon right at the beginning of August, and then new moon, excuse me, new moon in Leo. And then we're going to feel right away, we'll be moving into this Mars coming up to Jupiter. We'll start feeling that on 8/8. So the Lionsgate portal is really a Lionsgate portal this year. And it's powerful that, but it'll, the energy of the Lionsgate portal will go all the way for a full lunation, because Mercury doesn't come out of shadow until the 12th of September. And so it's like this new moon is going to start a month of very powerful energies where this all starts to come together and make sense. The Leo new moon, the Mercury retrograde, last year's Venus retrograde, none of that is going to resolve and make sense until Mercury comes out of retrograde shadow in September. And so during that time that Mercury's retrograde, it's very intense to have Jupiter, Mars, Jupiter square Saturn, you know? And so that'll be after Mercury moves back into the sign of Leo. And then Mercury turns direct on the 29th of August. So all of August is just really intense. And then we have at the end of August, Black Moon Lilith conjunct the South Node. And so it's just like we're facing down the monsters, Black Moon Lilith, exposure of the bad relationships, right? So where we've signed our life away, like where we did our birth certificate and then they traded us on the stock market as a commodity. It seems like whatever's in that account we should get back without our knowing, because it's capital letters. They've traded us. We are willing slaves to their system. How do we break those contracts? And that's what this next period of time is about so much. And so the result, let's just talk about the result, because the Jupiter square Saturn is the game changer. Okay, so Mars and Jupiter come up together on the 14th, 15th of August, and then Mars and Jupiter square up with Saturn. But Jupiter square Saturn, the generational, no more, change maker, can't go that way. This square of we've got to express and clean up rewrite the story of the Piscean age. through our expression of the truth, of the divine feminine, of singing the song of the goddess again. But Jupiter square Saturn is the main energy, and these are these generational planets that come together every 20 years. And that's from the 17th to the 23rd of August. And that will then cover the period of time of the Aquarius full moon that happens on August 19th. So that's going to be like, whoa, because the Aquarius full moon is saying, yeah, this is what it's about. We're moving now in the future. We're going to go now. We're not going to stay in the dark ages. No more dark, nasty reset loops where they steal our technology and reset us back to lower consciousness. It's like, we're not playing these games anymore. It's done. So that's really powerful. And so then after that full moon, Aquarius full moon, we're going to feel the Jupiter square Saturn through the first week of September. So then, and that's exactly when the Mercury retrograde begins to resolve. Mercury direct on August 29th. And so on the heels of that Jupiter square Saturn, but will not come out of retrograde shadows till September 12th. And it's on the 2nd of September that Pluto moves back into Capricorn. So that first beginning of September, very powerful. Labor Day in the US is like, whoa, there's a whole bunch of energy there. But it's also coming to a resolution, what this month of August has been about. And so the Mars transits, the Mars part of it goes till the 21st. And so we've got from like the 8 to 8/21, the second and the third week of August, and then the final week, third and fourth week, Jupiter square Saturn energy. And so that seems to be the line in the sand. And Black Moon Lilith conjunct the South Node, cut, 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 strings cut. We will not have masters, puppet masters. We're not your puppets, and we will not have masters. And yet, who are you without those strings? Free fall? Then the mother can catch us. So these times, 2024 has just been off the charts with this astrology, and I'm just so glad we're here together for this supernova soul. Are you feeling it? We're right on the verge of this massive change, but it makes sense that on the verge of, that's when you're going to feel the hesitation and the fear and the grief and regret and all of it. You're going to, you have no choice but to make a leap, and the mother's going to catch you, but you had turned away from her. We better get this figured out right quick. That was that Pluto, that Capricorn, the sun opposite Pluto. Get this figured out right quick, because the sun just is finishing out right now, that time in Cancer, saying the only way we figure any of this out is to come back to who we are as nurturing beings. And it's the nurturing power and the power of love that overcomes the misuse of technology. The misuse of technology is what got us here and is controlling us. And it's the power of love and nurturing that overcomes that control. It's more powerful. Our human consciousness and our love exponentially more powerful than their technological grid. Do not forget this. Your consciousness, your will. This came through. First of all, we had this thing coming through again and again from in the Edgar Casey readings, that there is no higher authority than you, the human soul in the body. And then a very powerful message repeated again and again and again, that yes, the influence of this, say, talking about astrology charts and the planets' effect in people's lives and through their birth chart, through these readings that he did, that came, this information that came through. But again and again, the message, like, not as strong as the human will. This influence, planetary, is, not as strong as the human will. We have the power to overcome all, and it's our human will brought up into our heart with the power of the love of the mother that takes back this world. And so this is everything that we're talking about. And the dark forces, control forces, have used astrology to control us, in our naivety and our disconnection and our, low level of paying attention spiritually. They just duped us and controlled us. And that was the Dark Ages and the Piscean age, distortions of the Piscean age. So we are rewriting all those stories and taking all of this technology and energy back for our use and for the mother's dream. And it's just the way it is. And so it's a beautiful energy, that knowing that your body as the mother's body is coming back into alignment. Everything must come back into alignment, and we'll meet you there. And it's a picture of supernova souls, one drop of a bigger thing. You don't know what you're doing, where you're going, who you are. You're dropping down the waterfall, tumbling down the cliffs, and yet, boom, we all come together in the pool, together in a grand reunion, and we're just so close. So that's what she says. She says, yeah, those structures can't take you where you're going. So they got to fall away. But everything is falling apart and falling away so that we can come back together. That's the power. That's what changes everything. That's why they don't want us to do it. That's why everybody's so scared. And we're going to do it anyway. You know, and it doesn't matter because the gate has been knocked down and they don't have any power over us. It's over. And so we get to come together now. And we're going to come together now. We're going to stand there in the rubble of the waste that they've tried to create a wasteland of our world. And we say, new life has sprouted. These seeds we planted over many lifetimes together. And just that beautiful feeling of like, okay, let go of it all, but the mother king is going to catch you. And just as you fall back into arms of the mother, you're going to find we're all there together with you. So just, I guess, just the message, be the fool. You know, on tarot, it's a 0 card, a 0 point. He's just packed really light. And he's got his animal friend. He's just got a little tiny little backpack, and he's just happy-go-lucky. He doesn't even care that he's coming to the edge of the cliff because he knows that mother's got him. And so we'll find each other there when we come out of this free fall. And just remember that it's falling apart so we can come back together. Because as I said that, I know I repeated this a few times as I do, that the structures, the message about the structures that we've built to this point not taking us forward. And then there's the question, okay, so what are those structures? And you know, when I saw us coming together in the pool, realizing that we've been working as a greater organism, we're just part of a greater organism, supernova souls, with each other. Is this the true meaning of Betelgeuse? And to go supernova, and to have a supernova star explosion, it really is about coming back together. That the structures that we are going to take us forward here, based on our recent conversation with the mother just now, says that the structures that will take you forward are your relationships, your positive, loving, soulmate, supernova relationships. And you work together already, lifetime after lifetime. We've been separated from each other. We're coming back together. Those are the structures, because that's when we see that we are a greater organism. And that's when we can co-create, cooperate, and co-create, bring together our parts to create exponentially more. And then the dream lives, and we just breathe it into existence. Because remember, she says, you don't need to create it. You don't need to build it. You don't need to figure it out. We've already done it. The seeds are there. The primary water, Mother Earth is listening to us, talking to us through the waters. The waters are coming up. This intimate, beautiful connection. It's like, and that's where you can feel this. When you do feel this connection with the mother through the primary waters and the earth, there's almost like a, ooh, is it okay? And there's an innocence and yet an excitement, and kind of an almost a forbidden quality to this innocence and this pureness and this kind of coming back into this mother's love. And just imagine that our talking to her and our loving her and our coming into this intimate relationship is that mutual reciprocity that's bringing the moisture to sprout the seeds that we've already planted and the dreams we've already built and created over many lifetimes in this evolution. And now we step back into that garden and get going on what we came here to do. So thank you so much. And thank you so much for your support, for being a part of the Supernova Soul Tribe. You can get Supernova updates, as well as with the gold membership, access to the new moon and full moon activations. and also live chats on the Telegram channel and lots of resources for Supernova Souls. Thank you so much for being a member. Thank you for coming to the events. Check out the replay of that Capricorn full moon activation. And I'd really like to invite you to come together in person in Montana if you can, if you're able to be a part of this in any way. Come forward and meet us for the Equinox in Montana. Also, beautiful painting workshop with Lauren in Santa Fe the last weekend of October. We're moving it, we're doing it, we're accessing our creation energy, we're claiming it back, and we're going to soak in the waters in Montana, in the hot springs, in that primary water, talk to the mother, talk to Mother Nature, immerse ourselves in the magic of this place, and then awaken our creative fire at the art workshop. So we know that all the work we do, Supernova Souls, because we're so connected, is a benefit for all of us. So everything that can happen, hopefully we can live stream portions of the Montana event, but come be here, come be in person, be open to the universe rearranging and mother picking you up and bringing you for these experiences. And also this just the beginning of exciting supernova events as we move forward together. And so just know that it's an intense time of everything falling away, but it's only so that we can come back together and do what we really came here to do. And the mother's going to catch us no matter what. The forces out there want to keep creating trauma, drama, scarcity. Of course, that's going to have to bloom. You know, at the end game, that would bloom. And we're at the end game. But it's only a few more months until we get this sorted out into a whole new direction. And so that has to do with the Mars retrograde that will be starting in December, not till December, and it will not resolve until it comes out. Mars will come out of go direct on February 24th and out of shadow in May 24th. So it's in Leo also. Leo back into Cancer, very powerful cusp there. So that's where we know our new direction forward as we recapitulate out of all this. It's going to distill into this beautiful new direction, the way, the river, let it come take you, and say yes to the surrender back into her love and into the power of your love, which is when we're talking about these higher intuitive gifts, that's all it is. And you're in love. You're back with her. You're connected to the earth. You're connected, your cosmic heart. And this allows all our creations to be only in alignment with her. And then we can move forward with absolute confidence and know that we're doing it exactly right, according to her dream, the mother's love. So thank you so much for being here and for being a supernova soul, going through all you've gone through to make it to this point. And just keep expanding, keep loving yourself, keep being gentle with yourself, keep nurturing yourself through the intense emotions that are coming up so that we can make way for the dream. That's definitely the message of that. Pluto sextile Neptune through the end of the year. Yeah, this is all playing out here, but make way for the dream. All aboard. Let's go. And right now it's requiring some serious surrender back into love, letting go of everything we thought we were doing, all the structures, all the ways, all the and it's really scary, but I know it's going to be completely worth it. And this energy is going to shift real soon as we feel the sun get out of this opposition with Pluto and really move into the sign of Leo, bringing us that light, that fire, that like, higher, just a little bit of a lighter energy so we can really move through these times. And so that opposition with Pluto resolves on the 26th, the same day that Mercury moves into Virgo, bringing us a little bit more grounding, but also slowing down. But recently, over the last year or so, or 2 years, we've been finding that, Mercury retrograde can be really glitchy, it can be really slow, it can be like that. But it's actually because we're in such an accelerated, amplified time, the Mercury retrogrades can really work for us. And in this case, it's like, yeah, what are you doing to express yourself as a healer? Because all we've really been doing is hiding in shame, and we found out the shame wasn't ours. The shame we've been carrying, we found in this activation for those who persecuted us. Ugh, supernovas. That's right. It's time to unpack all this, right? get back to the glorious, pristine, beautiful complexity, the uncorruptible soul, the incredible treasures being unlocked, you know. So that's a big energy with this Mercury square Uranus, unlocking our treasures of our higher intuitive gifts so we can turn on our light body. And it's happening whether we like it or not. So now we need to breathe with her, rest, heal, assimilate, digest, take time. Know that the power, the energy is going to come in surges, you know, and but it we can use it to make some dreams come true. So have fun in free fall. Get ready to land in the pool of water that is coming home, the love of the mother, and we'll meet you there. Thank you so much for being here, Supernova Souls. I love you so much. I look forward to seeing you soon. Until then, I'm Adrienne Elise. Namaste.